Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back at you with part 3, the third and penultimate part of penultimate. That's quite a big word for me, but yeah, the third and penultimate part of my quest or dreams to try and help Milan to become world-class AC Milan. That is, once I've not got a cup of tea because this is empty. I accidentally only made half a mug. Normally I fill it right to the top, but rather ironic for part 3. I say that because for some reason, well, I think because it rhymes. The number 3 reminds me of tea, so I can normally have a cup of tea and stuff like that. Well, most of the day, as you can probably tell if you've seen my videos. But anyway, I'll try not to waffle as I normally say for the intro. And these are ideas number 21 to 30. So I think that covers everything for the intro. As I say, I did want to keep it short and sweet. For once, I think I managed to do that, but I do like to keep them down to a minute or less, the intros, if I can. But here goes. Here are ideas number 21 to 30. So I hope people out there generally, especially Milan fans, Milan obviously short for AC Milan, will enjoy these videos and check them out and share them, especially with fans of Italian football and in particular AC Milan. So here goes. So number 21. I know I pretty much always say this one, but as the saying goes, 21 again. I would love for Milan to bring back its glory days and to remember its history and to utilize its history. And one of the things, a recap, again 21 again, a recap on some of the ideas I talked about. I was thinking as a marketing campaign to attract the best possible players, although I suppose this, i.e. money, would be the thing to attract players, although some would argue that players, I was going to go off topic a little bit and talk about politics, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to get into that red herring. Well, all I was going to say is politicians, people say they don't do it for the money. Yeah, right. But they do it for their passion or whatever. And a lot of people might say the same about footballers. Many of them will do it for the passion rather than just to make money. But their careers are quite short. So I'm not sure how well this campaign would work. But I think it'd be cool if they said, if you play for AC Milan, you get to play for a team that Kaká, Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, Seedorf, Ruud Gullit, right guard, I got his name right guard or which guard or whatever his name is, from Holland, Marco van Basten, and so many other great players once played for George Weah from Liberia, one of the great African players to play football. I mean, he was the only one I can think of for Milan. But I wonder if that marketing campaign would work. This cat's very cheeky, trying to drink from my mug. If anyone likes cats, we've got 3 of them, but one is about the size of the other 2 put together. Anyway, but yeah, I wonder if that campaign would work, saying that you get a free cat if you join Milan. But on a serious note, trying to be humorous there, if the club says if you join Milan, you get to play for a club that so many great players have played for, and it has a great pedigree, a great heritage, history, and that kind of thing. And also on the subject of great former players, I wonder how many the club could get involved in roles as scouts, coaches, possibly in the future even managers, directors of football, club ambassadors, and that kind of thing. So promoting the club all around the world and helping to develop the youth, pass on any skills or knowledge or experience they have to the youth. So I'm still laughing at my cats messing around, fighting each other and stuff like that. Where they fight and then the next minute they hug. But anyway, back to the topic. But yeah, utilising the strengths of former players, so they could pass on their knowledge. Some skills probably can't always be taught. So if Ronaldinho, for instance, came back, and as well as Kaká and others, it doesn't mean that just because they had those great skills that young players or even new players who come to the club, especially younger players, so in the academies and that kind of thing. And once again, I love for the club to have world-class academies, but it doesn't mean that Ronaldinho will be able to show people and they'll learn those skills. But I mean, even if they learn some of those skills from some of the former players like Ronaldinho especially, and Kaká, Ronaldo, and people like that, some of those Brazilian skills and that kind of thing, I think that would be pretty cool for the club. Moving on, number 22, I'd love to see what they can do in the future. I'm sure there was a point that I thought of earlier, but I can't quite remember it. It's eluded me. So, but yeah, looking at what they can do in the future to continue to improve. Again, I'm sure there was a specific point I was going to make, but I can't quite remember it. So I may well remember it later on, hopefully, but and say, oh, yeah, that was the point I was going to say in point number 22. But at the moment, it's eluding my mind. Hopefully, I'll remember it later, but I hope they can look at what they can achieve in the future, going into the future. So 21 could be about the past, 22 could be about the present and the future, and how they can improve and continue to improve. I just read online that AC Milan, I was struggling to follow the Champions League and all that, but like the tables and things like that, but because I didn't really get to watch any of the games or anything like that. But apparently AC Milan have dropped into the Europa League. But I think it would be cool if they win that, which would probably be a blessing in disguise, rather than being in a competition they can't win. Although I'd love for AC Milan to be back at that sort of level, of winning Champions Leagues and things like that. I think that'd be much better. But the Europa League could be a step in the right direction. If they win the Europa League and climb up to high positions in the league, then maybe they can start to build. But getting that investment, which I talked before about, like in Christmas, especially from Christmas Day, be a great Christmas present for me and hopefully for other Milan fans, although I'm a fan of Italian football generally as well, so but then hopefully the new investments can be made as soon as possible, and I hope they gel as quickly as possible and help the club to win as much as possible. Number 23, I say I'd love to find all possible legal ways to help the club, most importantly being legal, to help the club raise as much money as they can legally. I think both of those things are really important together, as much money as they can legally and not miss any opportunities like marketing, branding, or things like that. So I dream that the club, as they can get those, I think it'd be great if they could attract investment from Apple, Amazon, and Alibaba and others. And I hope to talk in point number 27 about what they would get in return for their investment, sponsorship, and whatnot, basically putting more money into the club. So I'll say all possible legal ways. I hope the club will find out about all possible legal ways to fundraise. I hope that fans will be able to fundraise, and I hope the club will be able to learn from other clubs all the possible ways that they can be attractive towards investors. Number 24, AC Milan World, or Milan World for short. Apparently in Italy they call AC Milan for short, but I suppose that could be mixed confused with the city of Milan itself. On that note, I'd love for them to work with the council, but Milan World, or AC Milan World, Milan World for short, could be something where it's like marketing and branding and bringing the fans together all around the world to share ideas about the club, to sell merchandise, to market themselves, and to attract fans from all around the world. I'd love for the club to have fans from all around the world, but I'd also love for Italian team to learn from each other. I know many of them, like AC and Inter Milan, obviously rivals, but I would love for them to work with the local council, politicians, and whatnot to look at how councils, politicians, and that kind of thing, maybe even rival politicians, can compete to see which can invest the most in the development of football, in this case in Milan. So I think that would be pretty cool. Another thing is, I was thinking they could borrow an idea, if you like. Again, I know they're rivals, but I think it'd be cool if Juventus have a thing where they have like their own version of a World Cup. Funny enough, AC Milan have something similar, but that's where they play against teams from around the world. But Juventus seem to do that more at youth level, where they invite young fans from all over the world, from Colombia, Tunisia, all over Africa and Asia, and all around the world, whoever can travel to Turin in their case. And I was thinking it would be cool if all possible Italian teams did that. So they got their fans from all over Africa, Asia, Latin America, America itself, the Americas, and elsewhere all around the world to come to play football in Milan, and hopefully that will help them to practice, and they can see any potential talent and that kind of thing, and sign them up, and hopefully benefit from that sort of thing, and encourage those fans to be hopefully lifelong fans. So I hope the fan base can be increased all around the world. I also hope young players will practice as much as possible and improve their diets and things like that. I think that covers everything for point number 24. So AC Milan World would be where they market, or for short, Milan World, where they market themselves around the world, and they could do like a Milan World Cup, sort of. It's their own miniature version of the World Cup, where I hope all Italian teams as well as Celtic can sort of copy that idea from Juventus. Hopefully Juventus won't mind, but I know they're rivals, especially Juventus and Inter Milan are rivals, so more so. But yeah, most teams, I think they're a bit like Man United. They're sort of a Marmite sort of thing, as we would say here in the UK, i.e. you either love them or hate them, kind of, with Juventus. But I think it'd be great, as I say, if Milan got that idea, and also investment from all around the world, and that kind of thing. Number 25, I hope they'll continue with ideas on like Milan World. So maybe they could make their own football-related theme parks. So and there could be different sort of sections where people try, like there's some areas where they do like penalty shootouts, some where they do key PLPs and things like that. They sort of compete to match each other's record, and maybe there could be coaches that go there, or even players sometimes if and when they get the opportunity to like do coaching, or there could be referees to sort of mark people's score. Obviously people would make it up, so they'd have to be counted how many key PLPs they do, or things like that. So they try and compete with fans from around the world, or people who love football around the world, and see if they can break records or things like that. So I'm using my neurodiverse creativity, I suppose, to think of outside the box ideas, and I hope the club will do lots of things like that, maybe working with neurodivergent people with dyslexia, ADHD and whatnot, to talk about out of the box ideas, and that kind of thing. And again, politicians, councillors and whatnot could look at how they could invest in the club and benefit football in Milan itself. Number 26, I hope AC Milan can make up for lost time, as they've sort of slipped down the rankings, sort of, and they're not the team that they once were. Unfortunately, that's happened to Italian teams generally, I think. But recently, Italian teams did quite well, but unfortunately, all three lost the finals that they got to. But hopefully, that is a step in the right direction and improvement. Hopefully, I'm not being too naive here, but I'm hoping that if they get the investment over Christmas and buy the best possible players in January with a few good signings, part of me worries whether they would, well, whether that would be, but whether they could acquire that investment so quickly, whether people would care about giving me a Christmas present, and also Milan fans a Christmas present in this case, and investing in the club and sponsoring it and whatnot, pouring money into the club, and whether they could do so legally as well, without breaching FIFA's or UEFA's FFP rules. And also whether they'll gel quick enough, even if they do get that investment and do get those players in. Would they be able to get, having lots of money is one thing, but would they be able to get the right scouts, directors of football and whatnot, to spot the best possible players they can get around the world? And how do they balance getting good in now and developing the youth as well at the same time? So I think that would be pretty cool. Hopefully they can do both. And hopefully my fears will be found to be, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, unfounded or whatever, I think is the word. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Number 27. So what would the investors and sponsors and whatnot, especially investors, shareholders and equity holders, get? Hopefully they will be able to look at like what the owners of Man City have done, and avoid some of their mistakes, and the fact Man City have already done that kind of thing, that the owners of Man City rather have. I think it's Abu Dhabi, who own the City Group, have done that. Hopefully they can replicate what the City Group have done, and do a lot better and avoid any potential pitfalls. I also hope they'll be rewarded through Milan fans, or even Italian football fans generally, giving like buying from those companies who invest in Italian football. Also, it could be something, an extra sort of challenge for them, which some might enjoy taking on a challenge. It could improve their legacy, and maybe local businesses, for instance, could leave money in their will for the club, or things like that. Maybe there could be tax exemptions. I'd love for Italian teams and Celtic to legally be a sort of like a tax haven where people can put money in. And I often say the key word being legally. From my own point of view, as a selfish point of view, it would be to benefit those clubs, Italian clubs and Celtic respectively. But hopefully it will benefit the people who invest, as I say, what's in it for them. And also they could like name stands after them, after their company. So for instance, Apple could have a stand named after them, and maybe have Apple stores in and as close as possible to the stadium, sell their products alongside AC Milan products, as they have Apple stores and different products in and as close as possible to the stadium, and also including youth stadiums, so they can really market their brand. They could sell their wares, sell their stuff basically, and also even on the club's website and on the YouTube, they could be listed as partners and things like that, and that kind of thing. So hopefully they'll find that very lucrative. And the club could also have nicknames like Apple Calcio Milan, Amazon Calcio Milan, Alibaba Calcio Milan, and so on and so forth. And me personally, I would love to acknowledge and list people who invest in and sponsor Italian teams, and so, as well Celtic and Italian teams such as AC Milan. So I could post things on Facebook or make YouTube videos to thank potential investors or people who have invested and sponsored the club, and that kind of thing, share information about them and that kind of thing. So it's a good place to sell their products, market their company and their goods. Basically, hopefully it'll be good for PR and that kind of thing. And so hopefully there'll be a lot of benefits that they would see. They could also have be listed on the walk and Hall of Fame that Milan could have. So just like Hollywood's A-list, where they have like the walk of fame, sorry, AC Milan could have that, and also the Wall of Fame and the Hall of Fame. So that could be that could include sponsors, investors, and whatnot. So people who have put money into the club and help the club financially, as well as those who have coached, managed, and just generally support the club in any way, especially at youth development or even at adult level as well. Number 28, I hope this will help the club get back to its best glory days, and put some of the negative times and negative experiences where they've struggled to get back to the top behind them, and improve as much as possible. Hopefully there'll be stable owners which will last for as long as possible. And with that financial stability as well as overall stability, hopefully it will help the club to turn its fortunes around. Number 29, once again, as I mentioned before, I would love for my fellow Anglo-Indians especially, and other Eurasians as well, to an extent, or as much as possible really, to have our own little teams that we can make from around the world and practice our own football and hopefully enjoy ourselves. And hopefully that will strengthen our own unity, but will help teams like AC Milan to practice. We could play as Inter Milan in black and blue or whatever against AC Milan and help them to practice, and sometimes vice versa. And also I look for, as I often say, neurodiverse people to share our ideas, out of the box thinking and that kind of thing, to help them, to help teams like AC Milan. And number 30, again, I hope they'll get as much investment and sponsorship and just generally money as possible legally, even from politicians, councillors, fans, people across Italy, local businesses in that side of Milan, and any other source of investment and sponsorship. Basically money coming into the club, most importantly again being legally, and hopefully to buy better players, invest in youth development, and anything else that could help the club to win, as they having the best possible managers, coaches, coaching staff, players, scouts, directors of football, and whatever else will benefit the club. And maybe they could try a few things like trial and error and see what works and what doesn't work. And maybe sometimes they could just use examples like Real Madrid, what's worked for Real Madrid and that kind of thing. If AC Milan get that level of investment, I think they could just copy and paste that idea, so to speak. Anywho, I think I'm going to stop waffling, and I should have probably put the cats in the video more. They're making me laugh quite a bit and chasing each other, that kind of thing. But yeah, maybe next time in part 4, maybe I'll put the cats in the video a bit more. But anyway, I'm out. Peace out.